NFC East order of finish. So it goes without saying, here's your odds. Most likely, the Eagles finish 1, Commanders finish 2, and then the Cowboys and Giants in that order round things out. Plus 325 over at FanDuel right now. If Washington overtakes Philly, and then it's chalk the rest of the way, Cowboys, Giants, that's the second most likely thing to happen, and then you'd have the Eagles and Washington with the Giants and Cowboys flip-flopping as the third most likely thing. But I thought we could just go through this right now and see what do we think the order of finish is, and is it going to be chalky? Because it's very rare. It's so hard going into a season with 4 teams to forecast the correct order of finish. If you try at about a 20-some% clip, you're probably going to hit it. Right now, it feels like there's tiers and there's gaps. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is easy in the East. Eagles a little better than Washington. Washington's better than Dallas. Giants are the worst team. But you know, Danny, if they play this thing out 50 times, it goes that way on a computer like 19 times.
Yeah.
There's just so much variance.
This division doesn't have back-to-back winners. Even when Philadelphia's been good consistently, Dallas has jumped up and had a 12-win season to their 11. Again, they didn't win the division back-to-back. Philadelphia didn't. I mean, because Dallas jumped up, I think it was 2023, the year started to run together with a 12-win season, so they won it. I'm telling you, it's not always chalky, to your point.
I believe that both Philly and Washington come back to the pack some. I don't think the Eagles, coming off of a Super Bowl, it's just normal and natural, are going to be as hungry and, that things are going to fall the way that they did to the extent that it happened last year. That's just how it goes. It's really hard to go back-to-back. It's really hard to still have that dog in you when you've been celebrating and having parties all off season long. But I do feel better about Nick Sirianni than I have. I mean, I've joked about him for a while. He's earned it now. This is a good, high-end quality coach. But they have a brand-new offensive coordinator. They have promoted from within. The last time they did this, they went with Brian Johnson, and the bottom fell out offensively. When they've gone and gotten really decent, formidable, proven OCs from outside the building, like Kellen Clemens, they've actually been great. Shane Steichen, it went really, really well. Those guys get head coaching jobs, and then they go to Brian Johnson. Now it's this Kevin Patullo guy that they're promoting. What if you have another year where Sirianni's got to step in and start helping you, like happened with Brian Johnson? That was a very, very different operation on offense. I love Vic Fangio on defense. I think they've got overall a good coaching staff, but that's one area where nobody's really talking about them losing something. Could the Kellen Clemens OC loss now in New Orleans as the head coach be a big deal? The other thing is they lost way more on defense than we've talked about.
That's right.
There's just a lot of starters that are gone. This is a very, very, very different team. So we just go, oh, well, they still have the great offensive line. It's not as good as it was last year. Oh, well, they still got the great skill group. True, but the defense, the O-line, they have taken steps back.
Yeah, and some of the names that you've gotten used to that are really good, that are still there. I mean, we saw how good Quinyon Mitchell was firsthand. Cooper DeJean was there, and he was outstanding. And, Jordan Davis is a absolute house up front. Jalen Carter's a grown man. They still have a bunch of pieces that are problems for you. But again, defensively, as you said, there's been a lot of turnover. Zach Bond, who had a great year last year, is back. But there is a bunch of turnover. You look at the offensive coordinator position, et cetera. A couple times they probably got away with things where, again, just naturally you come back to the pack. They're still the best team on paper. This isn't knocking them. The schedule, I think, for a Super Bowl champion works in their favor. They're going to play the Rams in week number 3, for example. Who knows what Matt Stafford is like, if he'll be healthier as the season goes, if not. I mean, how could you sort of account for some of those things? But Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, Buccaneers, Broncos, a bunch of playoff teams out of the gate there.
Who do you think they missed the most of the departures this year?
Milton Williams is the first name that jumped to mind for me.
Gotta be him.
That's that's the first one.
To me, he's the best player they lost. They got $26 million a year, I think it was, from New England. And it's a big list, by the way. I don't know if we rattled off all the names yet, but Josh Sweat on the D-line has been very good at times for them. Milton Williams was hugely impactful. Darius Slay in the secondary. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is one of my least favorite players in the league.
But he's so fun.
I'd imagine he's one of those guys, if he's on your team, that you like him, but he is just a awful dude to have to play against, and just seems like a guy that I don't have a whole lot in common with. Brandon Graham, defensive lineman, retired. Oren Burks, Kenneth Gainwell, all gone as well. Offensive tackle Mekhi Becton, a little bit of a liability in pass pro at times, but he's a road grader in the run game that they used some last year. Like, that's a lot. We just went through how many names. Offensive coordinator Kellen Moore to the Saints. Safety James Bradbury, now gone, had been in the mix for them the last couple of years. So It's a huge turnover. And you just hear, well, the Eagles, they're really good. This is a different team.
Yeah, I still think they're very good. I mean, you two bookend tackles that are as good as anybody's combo in the league. You're still centered around Barkley with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and old pal Jahan Dotson, a juggernaut there. I'm, of course, kidding about the last one.
Go back, though. You just talked about Barkley. Here's another thing we should bring up. There's no chance he repeats last year.
No.
0. It's irreplicable. It cannot happen. He's not going for 2,000 yards. He's not touching the ball 400 times again. There's a better chance he plays in like 7 games after the workload last season. What if he does miss a lot of time? Will Shipley and A.J. Dillon, the quad father? That's the running back room? I'm just saying there's a path to the Eagles being more of a 9-win team than like a 12 or 13-win team that I think is a much better possibility than people think. I think they're the best team in the East. I'm picking them to win the division. But this idea that they're head and shoulders better than everybody else, or there's just no way they come back to the pack, I don't believe it. And a lot of that just comes from, I think, Barkley, after last year, will not play more than probably a dozen or so games.
Yeah, and last year they were incredible, is the other part. Like, they were 14-3, a buzzsaw from wire to wire. At their worst, what were they? The second or third best team in the league, played their best football in January, had the extra lumber they had to lay in the playoffs, etc. It's not unreasonable that if you drop off 3 games, you're still excellent, right? An 11-6 team. Is that crazy that they could do that this year? 12-5, etc. So, yeah, I mean, we talk about them in Kansas City in the same breath. You could, quote, fall back to the pack a little bit, still be the first place team in the division, still be really good, still be a top 2 or 3 seed come in the postseason.
So you have Philly 1.
Yep.
You have Washington 2.
I do. It's boring, but I do.
I do too. I mean, I'm chalk. I have the Cowboys 3rd and then the Giants 4th. If something happens that is not that predicted for in that order, what changes? Is it Washington winning? Is it Dallas overtaking the Commanders?
What's the most likely?
The Giants not being in last place and maybe Dallas is?
The most likely thing to me would be Dallas sneaking up and maybe being ahead of Washington, whether it's via tiebreaker or, maybe a game ahead.
They better get Micah Parsons on.
And that's of course the variable. That's the variable. Is that one? But again, like this George Pickens thing eventually is incendiary and blows up. But it's also, I like their schedule. I mean, they got Giants, they got the Bears, they got the Jets, they've got the Cardinals, they've got the Raiders. They've got enough cupcakes on their schedule where you could see them harvesting a couple nuts, go 3-3 in the division. Next thing you know, that's 9 or 10 wins.
I mean, almost all the teams you said are the divisional opponents that everyone in the East plays, in fairness. So, like, the Eagles and the Commanders get a lot of those teams too, because that's the one cupcake in the West, the one cupcake in the North, or whatever. But I get your point. Like, there are soft games there. You got to win the games you're supposed to win, and now you find a way to get them to 9 or 10 wins. The thing that I am not picking to happen, but if you told me right now, with the 4 that we think in the order that we have them, we get one thing wrong, I'll say the Giants finished 3rd, and the Cowboys finished last. And the way this would happen is they trade Micah Parsons, which is both literally and figuratively
on the table as of today.
Well, not just that, but them kind of admitting it's not about this season right now. And if they were to do that between now and Thursday Night Football when they open against the Eagles, I could see that meaning they're a game or 2 worse, and a 9-win team just became like 7-10, or an 8-win team, if that's what it was going to be, just is now 6. And I think the Giants are not as bad as everybody thinks.
This is my running thing.
Eventually, we're going to see Jackson Dart, and based on the preseason, I can't wait for that. He looks like he can play. But Malik Neighbors is a star at wide receiver. They brought back Darius Slayton on a new deal. They still have Wan'Dale Robinson. Even if Jalen Hyatt is a bust and never does anything, the former 3rd-round pick a couple years ago, that's still a receiver room that's got enough talent for Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston early this season to put up some points. I love Tyrone Tracy. He fumbled too much last year. That was kind of the knock. But he's an athletic dual threat. He can catch the ball as well. Remember, Devin Singletary's there, the former Texan. They drafted Cam Scatterbo in the 4th round. That's a good running back room. And I now pivot to the defense, where they might have the best defense in the division. In fact, I'd be surprised if they didn't. It'd be a problem for them if they didn't. Abdul Carter added to a defensive front of pass rushers with the best D tackle in the league, not named Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence, with Brian Burns on the edge, with still even other talent, that can get to the quarterback. They drafted a 3rd rounder on the D-line in Darius Alexander. They've got, another 2, 6, 7 sack guys probably. I think the Giants defense will be good enough to be a floor raiser.
So even if it's not Jackson Dart at some point, which is kind of the other, the lever that can be pulled or thing to dangle if the season isn't going particularly well for Brian Daboll and company, everyone loves to beat up on Russell Wilson, which I understand, right? He's corny. He's kind of a punchline at this point. Everyone thinks that time in Denver was such a disaster that he can't even tie his own shoes. Last year, I remember he started 11 games. He was basically on pace for 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 9 picks. I'm not telling you that's numbers to write home about. What I am telling you
Indianapolis Colts Carson Wentz numbers.
Yeah, what I am telling you is a little stability right there with a defense that's pretty good, a couple really good receivers. Again, I'm not telling you that's the division champion or they're going to the postseason or they're doing anything special this year. I'm telling you that doesn't stink. And they stunk. They have stunk and been stinky for a long time. They're now in the, I'm not sure I'm excited to play them range. Like they could jump up and get me that day. A Russell Wilson moonball to Malik Neighbors late or something, right? You think of a play or two to be made. He is not the guy that he was. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not the guy that was on his way to the Hall of Fame with his start in Seattle, quite frankly. I know he ain't. He's now kind of a little bit Alex Smithian, a little bit of check down, a little bit take care of the football, a little bit just okay. That's good for what this group is right now.
See, I'm in team Russell Wilson's not good camp. I'm the people you're talking to. I think if he improved this year, he could be Alex Smith.
Oh.
Last year, seriously, the numbers you read off, that is a defense, run the ball, special teams, don't beat us, build this thing out of trading cards operation. I joked, but this is Carson Wentz leaving Indianapolis, which was a pretty good insulated situation. Remember, he was like 4-1 touchdown to pick.
Yeah,
I think it was like 27 tutties and 7 picks. Like people were citing his numbers all offseason. Like he almost threw for 4,000 yards and only threw 7 interceptions. That was him with the Steelers. And now he came to Washington in a much worse situation, and you get exposed. That is what I think is going to happen with Russell Wilson. I would be playing Jackson Dart against Washington. I would just play that guy. He showed that the lights aren't too bright. I'm not telling you that the preseason means a ton, but there's just a bar you have to clear for me to feel like you're athletic enough and can process quickly enough for me to throw you out there in the regular season and know it's not going to do damage to your development. And he cleared that bar with ease in the preseason.
As a quick side, I would too, because I don't do this. I don't do the Carson Wentz tier. I don't do the leftover on your 4th or 5th team caretaker thing. I go all in. Am I young or am I not? I don't care what my record is, but these guys that are trying to survive and keep their jobs, they do. And NFL teams love trotting out journeymen at quarterback.